Hey, Tommy from the Run Testers, and welcome to the monthly roundup, our monthly video where we talk about all of the bits of kit and tech that we've tested over the past few weeks that we've not had a chance to tell you about in other videos. So let's dive into this month's and see what we've all picked.
Handy layers, and I've been using this super thin, extremely packable, windproof Montane Featherlite Nano jacket from spring into summer here in the UK's kind of rather changeable weather. This is 100% recycle. It's made from ultralight Pertex Quantum. It has a DWR water repellent coating, and I like it for a few reasons. Portability is probably number one. It stuffs down into its own collar, so you don't need a stuff sack. It stashes easily into my naked running belt. It's really light at just 52 grams, so you don't really notice it's there. But there's enough of it to fend off wind, mild cold, and a little bit of light rain. And that's the second thing I like about it. It's not going to keep you warm and protected when things get properly wild or the temperatures drop very low. But for an extra layer before a race, or for taking on those runs where the weather can change quickly and you just want something else to add a little bit of extra protection. It's like a sort of a backup plan, basically, take the edge of the worst off the weather. This jacket is a great option. It's kind of ideal for the mad sort of 4 seasons in a day summers that we tend to have here in the UK, and particularly the kind of weather that's changed what we've had in the spring, or for runs where you want to put something on to take off a little bit of the chill after a run. It doesn't hold too much water, and even when it gets wet it dries fast. I used this at the start of the Comrades, and it was great for the 45 minutes pre-race just to stay warm enough. I also spotted Aaron Finn, author of Rise of the Ultrans, wearing this very jacket while currently attempting to run close to 1,500 miles around the island of Ireland. The ripstop fabric here also means that although it's really, really thin, it's quite tough too. This is an interesting one for me because I've never really gotten along with toe socks. I have a recurring problem with toe-on-toe aggression. Basically, my toes just are too close to each other, and after a while, this little pinky gets battered from being trodden on. Until recently, that also meant that I couldn't really get toe socks on. I found getting my squished up pinkies into each of the 5 sort of fingers of the toe gloves almost impossible. It's just a real fiddle. But ahead of my second tilt at the Berlin Wall in August, I've been using some silicone toe separators and wearing them while I'm not running to work on getting my toes more splayed. So I now have a little more distance between the toes. And when I recently tried on these Win toe socks, I actually found them surprisingly comfortable. Now there's good padding in the heels and just under the ball of the foot. That's got padding in all the right places, adding some comfort without being too heavy. The toes hold their shape nicely too, and there's decent ventilation around the toes here so they don't get too hot, where you've got that almost double layer of fabric that you get with toe socks. I've done a bunch of 90-minute runs in these in 33-degree Italian heat, and they were nicely breathable too. They are quite a leap on price over the Injinji toe socks, but I think the technical fabrics and the thought that's gone into the placement of the different thicknesses and the structures of the yarns here could arguably justify that. I'm not sure I'm yet brave enough to use them at the Berlin Wall 100, where I'll be running for 24 hours or more. But for runs up to 90 minutes, I found them very comfortable, and they've potentially converted me to the whole toe sock genre. Now, I've tried caffeine chews, gums, strips, you name it. I've tried to get caffeine in different ways. I find quite a lot of them can be quite bitter, but if you want an easy way to get a caffeine hit without that lasting taste, these energy chews that I'm going to show you right now could be a good option. The sweets are a little bit like a fruit pastel, kind of sugar-coated and fruity, but less chewy than a fruit pastel. They go down very easy. There's a nice change of texture from gels as well if you want to get a different way of getting caffeine in from hitting down a caffeine gel. It's really easy to stick a couple of these in your belt, shorts pocket or vest and eat them when you need a pep. The main hit is from the caffeine. This isn't a carb caffeine combo because there's not really enough to the sweets, but there's 40 milligrams of caffeine per chew, the equivalent of a shot of espresso, and some added B, A and D vitamins as well. I mean, if there's a sugary espresso available, I'd probably prefer that, but that's not often the case. So I'll pack a few of these when I head to Berlin for the wee small hours during the Berlin Wall 100 miler, when I'm running at the witching hour, digging deep, waiting for the dawn.
So my first pick this month is Tailwind's Endurance Fuel, and in particular the watermelon flavour I've been testing out lately, which is not only a very solid pun, but a very good flavour. It's watermelon and lime, which is really refreshing, and in general I find this carb heavy drink, a little bit more light and refreshing than the ones I generally use. I tend to use Montane products, especially when racing. They are thick, stodgy, full of carbs, full of the good stuff, great performance fuel. But when it comes to general long runs and workouts during training, over the summer in particular, this is a really nice alternative to have. I've been trying it out over the last few weeks and it is perfect. It's got a mix of electrolytes and 50 grams of carbs in a stick pack like this. You can also buy it in kind of bigger bags, so you can adjust the kind of serving to your preferences. And with that, you can also adjust the amount of water you put in as well to create a thicker or a lighter drink. And yeah, it has been perfect for hot months. And I think it's something that would obviously work really well for very long runs in particular, with Courtney Daughter in particular, where you have a drink that's a bit easier to get down over the course of a long day. It costs £36 or $40 for 50 servings, which is the equivalent of 25 of these stick packs I've been testing. I've been using a whole stick pack in a drink, putting in kind of around 600 mils of water, and just having that before a workout, during a workout, and it's just a really good summer option. And this is, I think, the best flavour. I have tested some other Tailwind endurance fuel flavours, and the watermelon with lime is certainly the one I prefer the most. Now, our other two picks this month are both commuter running backpacks, and this is an area we haven't really covered that much on the channel, so I wanted to put a couple in here that are probably my favourite backpacks overall for different purposes. I've got one that's slightly larger, that can accommodate a bit more and is a bit better for those who have to be a bit smart when going into the office, and then a smaller bag that I use a lot for running to track and doing shorter runs like that, as well as the occasional commute if I'm not carrying too much stuff. So the first one is the Stolt Athlete backpack, which you can see here. Now, I used a Stolt Alpha backpack a while ago as my main computer pack for quite a long time. Really like that backpack. I like the Athlete a bit more for a couple of reasons. One is that it's a roll top bag. I always like a roll top because if I run into the office, I don't have to carry too much in the backpack, but then on the way home, I might have a few things to collect or something like that. And I love the fact you can expand the storage by really shoving this roll top, full. I also really like a couple other features on this bag. One is that the waist strap at the bottom can be removed and used as a running belt by its side with pockets on either side, and I think that's a really clever touch and a nice touch. I also like the really reinforced chest strap they have on the bag, because this is an area I tend to break quite a lot on commuter backpacks, because I have to put it really tight because I am a lanky guy with not much muscle or body mass on my chest, and sometimes if it's a slightly more flimsy connection there, I can break backs in that point, but can't do it here. It's a very strong connection. Also, it slides up and down. So I've done a few runs with the backpack, both kind of general runs, just going to track, but also a long commute run where I did an hour. I did about 15k in an hour, so it was an easy, steady run, and by the end I was clipping along at a fairly decent pace, and it really doesn't bounce at all. And I've always found that with Stolt packs in the past. I've actually done full sessions while wearing them, even when I had, so for example, on this 15k run, I had a laptop, I had change of clothes, I had a lot of odds and ends all in the backpack. It was fairly heavy, fairly well full, but it sits very high on the back and just doesn't bounce. So it really is something that you forget about, and it doesn't annoy you too much on a run of that type. Has no kind of chafing issues. Sometimes with backpacks I get a little bit of lower back chafing, but that hasn't happened. Really secure fit, very easy to adjust. Yeah, all around a very good pack. You've got one big main pocket, a pocket at the back that you can put your laptop in, and then the side pockets that can take other essentials, and there's also the waist pack pockets for the things like key card that you need instant access to. So it costs £150 in the UK, so it's not a cheap backpack. You can also upgrade to a commuter set that includes a garment box and like a sheet of card that will tell you how to fold a shirt around it to keep it crease free whilst using it in a running backpack, which is not something I need. I'm a very kind of shabby guy. I tend to just wear t-shirts, but yeah, this backpack is, I think, really good for those who need to carry quite a lot into the office, who need to look smart at the other end of it and still want to run with something that's comfortable on their back. And then the other backpack I want to highlight is the Tracksmith Olmsted, which is kind of my favorite smaller running rucksack. It's still got a capacity of 18 litres, but it's fair to say if you pop a pair of shoes in this, you're not going to be able to fit a lot else in there. So it's not the biggest backpack in the world, but it's perfect for those who don't tend to have to change their shoes when they get to the office. Like me, I can wear running shoes all day and just don't need to carry that much with them. It's a really comfortable backpack. Again, lots of adjustable points on it. That means you can get a really secure fit. It sits high on the back again, doesn't bounce around, and there are loads of pockets on this, and they're quite cleverly done. So there's one right at the front in the sash there. There's a front pocket where you can divide up all your essentials into various different kind of pouches and zip pockets, and then the back pocket will take a laptop, and then underneath you can access the rucksack with this specific pocket that you can use for kind of shoes and sweaty clothes. So I tend to put my change of clothes in the main pocket at the top from the top direction, and then run into work, and then when I get there I'll pop all my sweaty clothes into the backpack from the bottom direction, and this is kind of the dirty, sweaty side of the pocket. It still goes into the same kind of space, but it does mean that the top of the backpack stays nice and clean. It's a backpack I use a lot to go to just a track, or if I'm going to a race and I have to run the first section of my commute into the race. It works really well, but it's also good for just straight up commuting if you don't have to carry too much beyond a laptop, and a smaller change of clothes without the need for maybe a pair of shoes. Cost £150 or $150 at the moment. I think it's just the black colorway of the backpack that's still in stock. And the other big advantage you get, because it is an expensive product, is that it is a Tracksmith product, so it looks really good, and it is just the general backpack I use when I'm not running as well, but really has that advantage of being a very good backpack for runs as well. So yeah, that's a couple of running backpacks I use for commuting. Thought it'd be good to flag up in essentials this month.
My first pick this month is the cap I've got on my head. It's the Puma X First Mile running cap. Now, I bought this because I actually bought two of these because I kept getting served ads for them, and it was a pretty well targeted ad because I'm really into running caps, and I really like the design of this one. So when I went onto the website, it was reduced from 20 something pounds to £14. So I bought two of them because I really like the look of it. I've been using them solidly for the past month. I really like them. They have the perfect fit for my head. They're very comfortable. There's quite a lot of room in them, but I also like running caps that have got quite a lot of depth in. Sometimes when you get running caps, they can be quite shallow, don't quite fit my head. Really like this. I'd be happy to wear this walking around town. It's just a very comfortable, nice looking cap. It's also got these mesh holes in the side. I've just been out for a very difficult 12k run in the heat, and this cap felt absolutely fine. You do get sweat in it, and it does drip, but it is nice and breathable and very comfortable to wear. So if you can get it now, if you like the look of this, you can get it now for £14 in the UK, which is a bargain because running caps are getting more expensive. So well worth picking up if you like the look of this cap. My next picks this month now are, it's summer, it's very hot at the moment, so I've pulled out a load of vests that I've been sent over the past few weeks to test out over my hotter runs. This is the New Balance Athletic Singlet. Now, I talk a lot about New Balance kit because I find with New Balance that it really fits my body shape quite well. I'm quite big. I've got quite a big upper body, and so when I wear certain types of kit like Soar and things like that, it's not particularly well designed for my body shape. I find that New Balance kit works really well. I'm still wearing New Balance t-shirts from 6-7 years ago, and they're still some of my favourite tops just because they fit my chest and arms quite nicely, and they're quite loose around the midriff, which is something that is becoming increasingly necessary as I get older. So this singlet is really good. There's a lot of expensive singlets coming out now. If you look at some of the performance brands like Soar, like Tracksmith, the singlets can be very expensive. This is £35, which isn't bad at all for this. There's a couple of things I like about this. One is the fit. It's very nice, very comfortable if you are maybe not a really skinny guy. But the other thing I like about it as well is it's really breathable and sweat wicking. I've just been out running in the heat and I sweated a lot. By the time I got home, I walked back it was in a 12k run. It was very hot. I walked back probably for about 5 minutes after the run, and it was really dry by the time I got back. There was no big sweat marks or anything on it, just evaporated the moisture off really quickly. It's a really comfortable top to wear. I really like the colour actually. I don't normally like bright colours, but this is quite a nice, subtle, bright colour. I think Nick's probably going to like this colour quite a lot. But yeah, that's the New Balance Athletics Singlet. Really good singlet if you're looking for a vest while we have a bit of summer in the UK. The other vest that I've picked is the Rabbit Race Pace Tank, which is this one. Nice design. Rabbit is a US company, but you can buy their kit in the UK now, and they're becoming increasingly more popular in the UK. I know quite a few people now that have tried out some Rabbit kit. The reason I like this vest, it's a little bit thicker than the New Balance vest, but it sweat wicks really well. It's very comfortable. It's got really nice stitching around it, and the material is quite soft, so there's no abrasion or anything like that. It also has all these I think they're laser cut holes around the outside of the vest for breathability. So yeah, it's a really good vest if you're running in hot weather. Very breathable, very comfortable, looks really nice. They have loads of different colorways as well, so you don't have to go for this sort of zebra design, which I wouldn't normally go for, but I don't mind it actually. I think it's a pretty good design. So yeah, solid vest. This comes in at a pretty good price as well. £33 in the UK for a really good vest is not to be sniffed at. So yeah, 2 vests this month. That's it from us on this month's roundup. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, click the little bell, and if you go into the caption you can find a link to our podcast which comes out. That's it from us. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to click the bell. Be nice if you could do all those things. If you go into the caption below, you can also find a link to our podcast, which comes out a couple of times each month. And if you like that, please can you give us a subscribe or a follow, so it depends on which podcast provider you're using, and leave us a message if you liked it. Maybe don't if you didn't like it. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.